only we can't go to SN because that's where we started. So we've got to look at the places we've got left to go, and those are CO and LM. So we're going to have to go to whichever is the closest of those. So from CA, if we went to CO is our closest, that unfortunately is going to take us 31 minutes because we've got to go basically round the rest of the loop. However, from CO, we can go 13 to LM. We've now been everywhere and we have to go back to SN because it's a tour, so you go home at the end, and that's another long one. That comes in at 32. So adding these together, we end up with a length of 121 minutes. If you chose the other 11, you will not have got this answer. You'll get what I get in the next bit. So the other option that we could have done was we could have done SN to BV, which will still be the same. And then if instead of choosing that 11, we chose the other one that took us to CO, then we'll get a different route. So from CO, we can go to LM. From LM, we've not been to BA yet, and that's closest. From BA, we've already been there, we've already been there, so we are going to go to PE, which is the next closest at 12. Then from PE, we can head to CA at 14. And then we've been everywhere. It's a tour. You've got to go home. So we're going to have to go back to SN, and that's going to take us 12. So when we add those up, we end up with a length of 91 minutes. So the upper bound for this tour, we've used that one, we've used that one. So we want the smallest upper bound. So the upper bound is going to be 91 minutes. Right. Now we have to really use the table that we've already done. And it ends up getting written on quite a lot. So first off, it tells us to delete SN. This means that we are getting rid of this one and this one. Sometimes on the exam, instead of telling you what you're deleting, they just give you a table with that row and column taken out. Sometimes they don't. It kind of varies. So we now need to find prims on tables for our lower bound. Depending on how they phrase this, if they're just asking you to do prims on tables, then you just do prims on tables on the bit they've got. To turn it into the lower bound, that's where we have to add back in SN. So if we start off with the prims on tables bit, if it doesn't tell you where to start, you can start where you like. That's then not a problem. So if we start at BA, purely and simply because it's the first one, we highlight our first one and we put a line through our first one. This basically reminds us that we don't need to go back there. So, where am I? So, Looking down here, we want to pick the smallest thing. So the smallest thing is here and is 11. So we have BA, BV is 11. So BV is our first one that we have chosen. So we can highlight this one now. And because we've now been to BV, we can get rid of it. If you're a person that draws the network at the same time, then you've got BA goes to BV. So we are now looking for the next smallest thing. That is highlighted and not crossed out. So we've already lost this 8, so we can't worry about that. But we have this 11 that is here. So we can use that one. So that would be BV going to CO. That's the second one that we've chosen. It was also 11. So we highlight that one and we cross it out. So that we don't accidentally go back there. And if you're a person that adds it in on your network, then we've now got CO as well. Right, so we are looking for the smallest thing that is highlighted and not crossed out. So although we've got this 13 that we've just highlighted, there's actually a 12 all the way back over here that we can use. So we end up with BA is also going to PE, and that is 12. So PE is the third one that we have chosen. So we can highlight PE. We can cross out PE. And we can add it on to our network. So that came from BA. So we now have PE as well. So looking at what we've got, we have a 21 left in this column, a 13 and a 14. So if we take this 13, it was in our CO column, so is CA to LM, it is 13. So that will be the fourth one that we have chosen. We can highlight LM. We can cross out LM. And we can add it on to our network. It comes from CO and it is LM. Okay, so looking for our next thing, the only one we've got left is this 14. So that will be PE as our column, CA as our row. It is 14. So that will be the fifth one that we've chosen. And we can also add it on to our network as CA. Your network may well look completely different. That's not a problem, because it's just a case of adding things into each other. So if it asks you for prims on tables, you're 90% of the way there. You just need to work out what your length is. So you add these ones up together, which should be 61. So you've got your network that if you didn't draw as you go along, you've got to draw now. You've got a length of 61. Now this particular one asks us for our lower bound. So for our lower bound, we have to add back in SN. So if we look down Sn, we need to pick the two smallest things that are in Sn. Two smallest things are 8 and 12. So what we're going to have to do is we will add in Sn. The 8 goes to BV. And the 12 goes to CA. So once you've put that bit in, you end up with your lower bound. So your lower bound is 61 plus 8 plus 12, which should be 81 minutes. So this gives us a lower bound. There's a couple of odd situations. If your upper bound and your lower bound are the same, it means that your upper bound is an optimal root. If your lower bound is bigger than your upper bound, you've done something wrong. So your root or your tour is going to be between your lower bound. So it's got to be bigger or equal to that, and has to be less than or equal to your upper bound.